Hi there. In this video we will test if you can actually clone the hard drive in a NAS while upgrading or downgrading its size, depending on what you want to do. So you don't need to reinstall everything, remake all your settings, copy all your data once again, because this particular model only has one hard drive. So if I'm upgrading without cloning, well, that's not fun at all. So we will try cloning. Okay, we are starting with the hard drive inside of this perfectly working. Everything is set up exactly the way I want it. So let's give it a power off and go from there. Open it up and whatnot. I think just a quick press gives it the signal to turn off. I'm not even sure. I basically don't turn it off, so any day now. I think now we are turning it off. So at the end of this procedure, in theory, when we power it on, hopefully it will power on normally without any issues, but that remains to be seen. Okay, shutting down. I want to show you the full shutdown sequence. So it was working normally, we are shutting it down, and then we want it starting up normally when we are done. Okay, unplug network cable, unplug power, and see exactly where we have some screws. Two of them right here, and presumably this side of it comes backwards. Opened up the two screws at the rear, and now this side slides out and we have full access to the hard drive. Undo 3 screws on this side, 3 on that side, and continue from there. So we have the 4 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf inside of it. Removed all the screws, now we just slide it out of the connector. Voila! Getting ready to do the cloning. The hard drive is in here, the big one. Through a software, I think I'm going to use a Acronis True Image this time, and through this adapter on the SSD. This is another adapter inside of which I will link the video for it in the description, inside of which I have an M.2 SATA SSD. So this is yeah, it's a 2.5 inch SSD if you look at it, but inside it's an M.2, even smaller SSD. Anyway, and I just wanted to do this setup to show you that for cloning, yes, in theory you need one of these adapters if you are going with a 2.5 inch, or if you are cloning from a big drive to a big drive, 3.5 to 3. Or it's 325 inch. I don't know how the size exactly for the desktop hard drives. You need one of these with 2 bays. So either one with a single bay and one of these for a smaller one, or one with 2 bays for 2 big ones. But obviously also, because I have this already, this was just for showing you, I can just simply pop this in right here and clone the big one to the small one via software. This also knows to do cloning, but not from a big hard drive to a small hard drive. From a small one to a big one, it can do it by itself without even connecting to a computer. But because we are going into a smaller one, I need to connect it to a computer and use software and whatnot. And now I can also remove all the adapters in here, no needed anymore. So let's boot from this. I have a series of videos that shows you on different brand of computers how to go into the boot menu, boot device list. I will also link that in the description. So yeah, let's quickly power this on. Let it spin up the hard drive. and it's pinned up. This automatically powers on when I open the lid, so pressing F. Okay. My bad, I need to shut it down. It was actually in standby, not off. So shutting it down. Shut down anyway, and I will power it in a moment and press F12 like crazy to boot from this bootable USB drive. Are you powering down? Yeah, it was powering down. Any day now. Ew, specks of dust. It's really nice how on camera they are way more obvious than on in real life. Don't quite understand why that, but that's happening. But anyway, pressing F12 on a IdeaPad Gaming from Lenovo, and we should get the boot menu any moment now. And we have it here. And now I need to figure out which one of them is that. So in theory it's an ADATA, and I think this is it. Smash enter. Yes. Acron is through image. Smash it. Loading. Hard drive making noises. Okay. And be back to you in a moment after this is loaded. It might take a while. Ready for the cloning process. From big one to small one. As you can see, I needed to add the mouse in the mix because this wasn't working. So I kind of need a mouse. And let's see, tools and utilities, clone disk, manual mode, and let's see, the big one on USB, we want to clone it to this one. As you can see, these are the partitions that the NAS made on this drive. So we will be editing the size of this one. You can see how almost nothing I'm using out of it. So next, we want it on this one. Contains some partitions. Yep, I know it does contain some things. I do not really care. This is what we need to complete the operation. Let's see how I can actually... Will it not let me resize it? Ooh, normally this program lets me resize partitions any way that I want. Man, that would be really bad if I cannot resize it. Ooh. Let me change the disk layout. I cannot go. Let's see what I can do at this point. It's so that it's not full, but no, it doesn't let me pass. Okay, so basically I selected everything. Oh man, no, Houston, we have a problem. It doesn't know how to edit this type of partition. Yikes. Ooh, I might need to boot with another CD to edit the size of this partition to make it tiny. So we come back to this cloning software. That could prove challenging, but I'm up for it. Yes, this little software doesn't know how to edit this particular partition. Normally I'm used to NTFS, FAT32, standard stuff. This, I don't know. Or actually, wait a second, it is NTFS. Why doesn't it allow me to edit it? Let me see something else. Add new disk. No, I don't think I have any other options at the moment. Clone disk. Let's see if I leave it in automatic. This, no, but from the start I have that. So it doesn't know to do something with this particular type of partition. Only sector by sector. Ah, okay, so it thinks it contains errors. So that's why it cannot really do anything to it. It wants to copy them exactly as they are. Unsupported or broken file system. Yep, that's the issue. I need to somehow use another program to edit the size of that partition. Be back in a second. Okay, I'll be using Parted Magic to try and resize the partition on this to the size of this one, or even a bit smaller, and then I will increase it on this one back to maximum that it can support. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so let's see. We are booted into Parted Magic, as you can see, and we are using partition editor. I think it's already open, but for the love of God, I have no idea how this thing works. Okay, it was right here. So I'm looking at the drive that I want to clone the big one onto. So I'm looking at the size of the small one, 476.94. This one is an internal hard drive. I don't care about that one. This is the one that I want. So I need all the partitions on this one to be smaller than this. So from this number, I'm subtracting this plus this plus this, not the big one, and plus this. And what I'm left with is the size that I want to make this big partition. So I will do some calculations and then simply click on this thing, and you can see it's letting us resize our partition to whatever we need to. This is the new size. These are megabytes, so take into consideration that you need to multiply with 1024, the number you want to get gigabytes. Okay, well, yes. And our partition will be like this, and I think we will have about 500 megs free or 600 megs on the small one when we are done with it. I don't care about that. That's basically nothing. Or I can actually come into this program and re-edit the partition. Anyway, yes, I'm doing all of this knowingly. I have a chance of losing the data on the big hard drive by playing with the partitions outside the NAS itself. Do I care at this moment? Nope. So apply all operations. Apply. Disk activity right there, doing its thing. Now the partitions on the big drive should fit on the small drive. As you can see, we have a ton of unallocated space. So yeah, I could use what we have here in Parted Magic for disk cloning. I think it's Clonezilla. But honestly, I have never used it, so I'm not keen on learning it right now. So I'm going to reboot my PC and get back to Acronis True Image and copy that to that finally, I hope. Right back here, manual. Actually, let me show you from the start. So clone disk, manual. This one, as you can see, now the partitions are much smaller and we have a ton of unallocated space. To this one, let me just double check it's the proper one. Yes, it's the proper one. I don't care about the partition. And I'm going to go with manual because I can deal with the sizes of the partitions. Changing, proceed. Ooh. Oopsie daisy. Huh. Okay-ish. We'll see how this works. It might not be bootable, so I'm going to put it in the NAS, but it might not boot from it. We will see. Cloning operation was successful, but is this bootable? Let's put it in the NAS and see. To put the SSD in here, it's quite simple. Slide it into this connector, if it actually aligns. And in theory, yeah, great, none of the holes line up. So I will be using some double-sided tape, but the connector seems to be sturdy enough to hold it in position even without that, but I will still use double-sided tape on the bottom of it. But first I need to try and boot this up and see if it actually powers on from this, because it might not be bootable, this little guy yet. Plugged in. If LEDs light up and we hear the beep, we are good to go. If not, yikes. Our adventure continues. And that might actually be the case. I will give it a few good minutes just to make sure that I'm not shutting it off prematurely, but hey, wait a second. Is this thing online? I'm going to try and connect to it from my laptop. This might be online and it might have worked. Well, nope, not online. I think this LED is telling us it's actually waiting to be configured from scratch. It saw a new drive, but it needs to be configured. That's not what we want. So, power down. Camera focus. Power down, I said. Long press. Powering down. I'm going to put this drive in just shortly to make sure that it is still working, because if this is already not working after we modified the partition, then there's no point on trying something else. I will directly configure it from scratch with that one, but hopefully this is still booting. So let me put it in and see. Yep, the old drive is working perfectly. Trying to do the same thing again with a newer version of Acronis 2 image 2021, and I didn't get all those warnings. I'm doing it in automatic mode. As you can see, it is resizing some partitions around here, but hey, maybe it will actually work this time. Oh no. I might have found a way. So clone disk, manual, next the big disk, which again I modified the big partition to make sure it fits on the smaller new drive. In case you are upgrading to a new drive, you don't need to do this because your partitions will already fit anyway. Next, choose the new drive. Next, as is. So it will not modify anything because my partitions do fit. Next, this is unallocated because I went and clicked proceed and I saw it's not giving me any errors that it will not be bootable. So I realized that probably this is the way to go. So I will film and show you. So proceed. Absolutely no errors about bootable. So I think it's actually working this time. I hope. Again, wait and see, and hopefully it will boot from it. Well, it seems it succeeded, but is this bootable or not? So let's plug it in and see. Still not working. I'm wondering if the partition is actually not set to active. I've had this issue with Acronis 3 image in the past. So let's go into mini tool partition wizard or something like that to see the difference between this and the one that's actually working. This time using mini tool partition wizard 12.6 free version with copy disk wizard, and I'm basically copying disk 4 to disk 6, and hopefully this time it will work. It told me that it should be bootable, so who knows. The only thing that doesn't seem to do exactly the same, on the original disk we have this 127 megs unallocated between these two, and in here we will not have them. Not have that, not them. I don't know, we'll see, try to boot it, see what happens. And cloning, it's finished. Let's hope this time it actually works, not like the last 100 times when it didn't. It freaking works. Yay! So I cloned the drive from a bigger one by minimizing the partition to a smaller one. In Windows you could see the software that I did it on, and I'm going to just show you quickly exactly how I did it. I'm not doing it all again, I'm just going through the steps of showing you. Okay, so both drives are connected with this iNeo unit. It doesn't really matter with what you connect them, you just need to connect them to your PC. Figure out which one is the drive that you want to clone. In my case it's this one, you can see from the size, the 4 terabyte drive. And the drive that you want to clone onto, this one. In theory it's 512 gigabyte SSD. So then you just go to copy disk wizard, next choose the drive that you want to clone. Again, I made this partition small enough for everything to fit on the new smaller drive. Normally it would have been almost up to the end. It couldn't have fitted. And you can hear my daughter sneezing, I think, bless you, or something. I'm not sure what she did. Anyway, next, and then on to what you want to clone. We already have it cloned, as you can see. And then it's next. All the data will be destroyed. Are you sure? Yes. And here you can actually play around with this, but honestly I don't recommend. I think making modifications will actually maybe not make it boot, or you can actually make modifications to them and then you don't need to go through that edit step that I modified. I decreased the size of a partition with this one on another software. Maybe you can directly do it from here, but I already did it with another software, so for me, copy partitions without resizing. It's telling us that we need to change BIOS mode to UEFI to boot from GPT disk. Yes, totally agree, but I don't care because this drive is not being used on a laptop. It's in a NAS device. And finish, and then you simply hit apply. And it will do exactly what it already did in my case. It will clone that to that, and this will be bootable, and you can put it in your NAS unit. And basically that's about it. This software running under Windows did it all, what I couldn't with the other trials. So let's put some double-sided tape on this and close the NAS right back up. And yes, while cloning, Windows will prompt you with lots of this format drive before you can use it, because it's seeing many new created partitions. Do not format them, just hit cancel. Sorry for the bad light. In the end, decided for something else. This is shoe glue. So it attaches to metal, but not extremely well. If I ever want to remove this, it will allow me to rip it off, and slowly, if I rip it off piece by piece, it will also come off the metal and not leave too much debris and marks, because I wanted this to basically lay flat on the metal and have nothing between them like a double-sided tape which will actually insulate in terms of temperature. So if it's metal on metal, it's a bit of thermal conductivity in there, not like if I would have a thermal pad or something between them, but this will never get that hot. But I still didn't want to have the double-sided tape in there, so I put this glue and I will leave it like this on its side to dry. And actually I can even close it up and leave it on its side even working, because we do not care if it's working while it's drying, it doesn't affect anything. So let's begin. Basically closing this up, I put the screws in a bundle, the ones that are used for hard drives, in the box of this thing. In case I ever need them, I know where to find them. So this is done. We have upgraded to an SSD, downgraded in size, upgraded in what I needed to do. As you can barely see in here, with all this non-existing light, it's booting up, and we just want again for the status LED to stabilize right after we hear a beep. So it will do its OS loading and configuring and whatnot, but we need the status LED to be stabilized, and 99% sure it will be, because it was before. But come on, status LED, we need you. Stabilize. Do it. Stop flickering. Oh, come on. Any day now? Ha! And it's on, and we have LAN activity, disk activity, exactly what we need. And zero noise, because we are running an SSD which has no moving parts inside, which is great. And yes, this will stay on its side again until the glue dries, so maybe a day or something like that. Let's go see, and let's go check if I can actually connect and copy to this. Ta-da-da-da! It's visible. And let's copy something to it. Working perfectly at speeds that I would expect with my particular network connection in here. So yeah, that's about it. This is how you clone a drive and keep your existing data and not redo all the settings. So hope this video helps you, in which case please give it a like, check out my other videos, and as always, see you in the next one. Bye.